In the mid-2000s, a website called TV Tropes began to spread across the internet via word of mouth. Few of us knew what a trope was, but the way the website used the word was so intuitive that we all caught on quickly enough. What we never could have imagined is that the way TV Tropes was using the word was completely incorrect. And yet, through years of collective misuse, this distorted version of the word became widely accepted as the correct form. So what did the word trope originally mean? Well, traditionally a trope was considered to be any use of a rhetorical figure of speech. For example, if I were to say, TV tropes will ruin your life, that would be an exaggeration called hyperbole, which was classically considered a trope. Another classical trope was metaphor, which is when you say one thing is actually another thing. For example, when XKCD said that TV Tropes was like Rickrolling but you're trapped all day, that was a simile, which is a related trope, but if the author had said TV Tropes is a Rickroll that traps you all day, that would be a metaphor. Or to give you a period-appropriate example, when Christ referred to God as the Father, writers called this the metaphor of fatherhood, or the trope of fatherhood, because literary critics frequently used both words interchangeably. All metaphors were tropes. But the word trope fell into such disuse that when it was later discovered by amateur critics on the internet, it was primed for misinterpretation. By 2004, the armchair analysts at buffistas.org were regularly using trope to mean a plot device rather than a rhetorical device. Out of these discussions came the creation of TV tropes, and the rest was history. However, this wasn't the first time a word changed in meaning through misuse. In fact, it's more common than you might think. For example, the word awful originally meant full of awe, and terrific originally meant full of terror. It might be surprising, but this is just a natural part of the way language evolves. Yet, sometimes a word that's in the process of evolving can be stopped dead in its tracks, which incidentally is a trope called an idiom, but never mind that. In 1996, Alanis Morissette released a single called Ironic, whose lyrics were filled with examples of what teenagers and 20-somethings at the time understood to be ironic situations. But when the song became a #1 hit, grammar snobs everywhere suddenly realized that an entire generation was using the word incorrectly. True irony isn't just an outcome that's unexpected, but an outcome that is the exact opposite of what was expected, like poetically the opposite. So while Rain on Your Wedding Day is not ironic, writing a song called Ironic, in which not a single lyrical example is ironic. Still with me? Long story short, the pushback worked, in so much as it made people afraid to continue using the word at all. Go grammar snobs. But in the age of social media, it's much more difficult to catch a straying word in time. Most recently, a decades-long battle over the word literally finally came to an end when dictionaries decided to include the secondary definition of figuratively, the word's literal opposite. And believe it or not, this is all the fault of irony, because verbal irony is when we use a word to mean its opposite for dramatic effect. The problem is that when the ironic form of a word becomes more common than the original form, the word's accepted meaning essentially flips, which is probably what happened to awful and terrific. But here's the kicker. Verbal irony is yet another rhetorical figure of speech, which means that using literally figuratively to mean figuratively literally is a trope. Or it was, before TV tropes. But have you ever wondered why we use the word Easter egg to describe a hidden secret in media? Check out my video on that topic, and please consider supporting this channel on Patreon. Thanks for watching.